fortunate enough to be sitting here, and it's been almost a year since I took office, and I always like to say how truly blessed I am to be able to represent you. Hopefully I'll do a good job, and when we get ready for the Kingwood Drive expansion, I'll make sure that when we go down that path, we'll have many meetings to talk about trees, whether they're living and dead, and construction of 6, 8, 12, whatever lanes we need. So with that, y'all have a blessed evening. If you go to the Taste of the Town, or whatever it's called, the Kingwood High School football game, have fun. Yes, sir.
Dave, could you briefly comment on where the council is on their 2014 budget review and approval, and in particular, what the tax rate likely will be for 2014?
Yes, we just adopted the tax rate, Jack. Was it Tuesday? Last Tuesday's, Wednesday's board meeting. And it stayed the same as it was last year. As far as 2014 budget, we go from fiscal year July 1 to June 30. We just wrapped up the fiscal year. We did the capital improvement project. The city of Houston has basically, I call it two buckets of billions of dollars. $2 billion in the general operating, $2 billion in capital improvement, which are segregated. And we just finished that up probably sometime around May and voted those through. So that fiscal year started on July 1st and runs through the end of June. Does that answer the question? Thanks. Yes, sir. All the way back.
You made a reference to Kingwood Drive.
Yes, sir.
Just give a little update.
Yes, and I think we do have handouts. That falls into the capital improvement project plan. And we have some handouts, and this will give you the timeline. What happens is the city of Houston has what they call the worst first scenario, which are dollars attached in the capital improvement project plan, which is different than a general operating budget plan. So within the capital improvement project plan, they have designated that Kingwood Drive is the third worst street in the city of Houston. So what they do is to fix and alleviate those problems, what they do is they allocate dollars towards it. We have $18 million allocated for Kingwood Drive. But it's up to us as to what we do with that $18 million. But understand this, the city of Houston does the worst first, and when we do the design plan, or before we do the design plan, they will actually look at it and ask us, or ask me, if we move forward with it. So what then happens is, if we choose to do the construction project as the engineers suggest, there is a manual that they use. This manual will tell you that the streets, you can see it as you go up and down, look at all those white patches there that are all over the place now. These streets were built 30 years ago to handle half the cars that they're handling today. So not only the wear and tear, but also the mobility issue, front to back, back to front, moving traffic east to west. So what happens is that when they come to us with the master plan, it's up to us to decide what to do with it. You either say thumbs up or thumbs down. The master plan will tell you, this is the plan, this is the recommendation, this is not what they're going to do, but it's the engineer's recommendation based upon traffic manuals that say, when the front of Kingwood, from Kingwood Drive, 494 to Woodland Hills has 45,000 cars on a daily basis. It should be 8 lanes. Not 4, but 8. And from Woodland Hills to Westlake Houston handles 32,000 cars. It should be 6 lanes. From Westlake Houston back, it's okay. It should be 4 lanes. So when we hear about this, it's up to us to decide. There are many people, and everywhere I go, I have this informal survey. How many people would love to see Kingwood Drive in front of Kingwood with 6 lanes, 3 on both sides? Raise your hand.
No.
How many people say no, don't cut down the tree? That's it. It's 50-50. I'm here to represent the best interests of the community. I will do that. My belief is totally different than my wife's belief. But it's for us to decide whether we want to move forward with it. There are many people here that moved here because of the beautiful trees. And they don't want to give up the beauty of what we see every day going up and down Kingwood Drive. So what I'm trying to do is to figure out a way where we could do something a little bit different and maybe satisfy 80% of the people versus 50%. Because no matter what we do, 50% of the people are going to be happy and 50% of the people are going to be sad. So So that's a problem, and that's our dilemma. The good thing is the engineer plan is not scheduled until 2016, and construction will start probably sometime around 2017, 2018. So, yes, ma'am.
Is there something possible that in time to come, that we can work with Montgomery County and do something about North Park? Since that would get us front to end, and right now we're vacancy on it, it would be faster in for most of it, and it would relieve them because those people on Ford Road are coming to Kingwood.
Well, here's what's going on right now. It's a great question. We're working with TxDOT in Montgomery County and also Harris County. If you can't move traffic east to west, which is Kingwood Drive, can you move it north to south? Especially with ExxonMobil building their headquarters. We're trying to get, realtors will tell you that we're having people coming in left and right because it won't take that long to get from Kingwood to the new ExxonMobil headquarters because of 1314 and because of some of the things they've done there. So, TxDOT, Montgomery County, Harris County, we're looking at expanding Mills Branch to 4 lanes. Mills Branch to Ford Road to 4 lanes. Ford Road for 4 lanes all the way to 59. So hopefully that'll do a nice job of moving traffic north-south so that you can take that north-south patch. A problem with North Park is that from 59 all the way to past St. Martha's Church, and you've seen the construction on St. Martha's, is Montgomery County, it's not Harris County. So we're somewhat, if it was up to me, the front of that area would be 8 lanes because you don't have any trees there. You have a big drainage ditch and it would probably be a lot easier. So can you take and start moving traffic and divert it over to North Park and head them out that way? That's some things that we're going to look at working with Montgomery County and TxDOT. But it's a great idea, but it's really unique in that that's Montgomery County and it's not Harris County, it's not City of Houston. So we have a little bit of a dilemma there. We can't just do what we want to do. We have to make sure we work with all the different parties. Yes, sir.
Speaking of traffic, can you tell us about the City of Houston's involvement with this new proposed shopping center or mixed-use center, Kingwood Park Place, in front of Kingwood Center?
Okay, are you talking about the not the Kroger, but the Jeffco development that's in the front?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Jeffco
Doesn't add a lot of
development.
traffic.
I'm sorry?
Doesn't add a lot of traffic.
Yes, I personally think the Kroger's going to add a heck of a lot more traffic than people think. And it's a nightmare trying to get from the back of Kingwood to Whataburger, a movie theater, whatever, Cracker Barrel, without getting killed. But the problem is we don't control that. We have to work with Montgomery County on that. To your point, is there is a development that is it's moving along rapidly. Has anybody ever been to City Center, which is at I-10 and Beltway 8? It has very much what I would call a city center flair to it. It's multi-purpose, it's residential, it's shops, it's retail, restaurants. The restaurants that they're talking about are pretty darn good restaurants. The food company slash grocery store that they're talking about will be unique in this area, but not unique in the city. It's headquartered out of Austin, Texas. But that's the end of the day. But there's a bunch of things that are coming up with that. I personally think it's going to be a phenomenal development. I think it will add traffic, no doubt about it. But we're working on how to get traffic to 59 to the feeders, 494, once again, north and south. But I'm one that would love to see more restaurants. And the restaurants they're talking to, no offense to the ones around here now, are really nice upscale restaurants that you'll see in the Galleria and the Post Oak area. And I think it's really going to be nice once that comes to fruition. The development company does a great job. This isn't their first rodeo. They've done a bunch of these in other areas. And it's got a really pretty flair to it. Drainage and detention are issues. We're working on that right now, but look for more of that to come. I really would love to say more, but I really can't because they're still negotiating with a lot of folks. Yes, sir.
Hi, I have a question. I have a couple of requests.
Okay.
With regard to the barrel hog issue.
Stand up. Barrel hogs.
My wife Cindy and I live in Kings Point addition. And First of all, I'd like to thank Ally Smart for helping us early on a couple months ago and working with KSA and getting their cooperation. Ally was very helpful to us, so we appreciate that. And the hog issue is important to us, not only because it's significant damage they cause, and they cause damage in thousands of dollars, but even more important, it's a safety issue to our people that use parks, use the green belts, and in our yards. Ethel mentioned earlier that there's two areas where the hogs are congregating during the day to rest up before they come and attack our homes at night. One is in the parks, particularly at East End Park, which KSA has control over and is taking steps to address. The other area is Kingwood Development Company, which has about 162 acres.
You know, it would be nice if everybody could hear.
Not coincidentally, when Kingwood Development Company began clearing around June is when the hog attacks began. When a large part of their habitat and food source was removed, and shortly thereafter, the hog attacks started happening in our neighborhoods. The KSA has employed not only a hunter for their properties, and when they asked Kingwood Development Company what steps they were taking, at first they told KSA that they were trapping, and later they recanted that story. When KSA asked if the hunter who uses dogs and had no weapons could hunt on on Kingwood's property, they denied it without giving any reasons. And the hunter would hunt there at no cost and would sign liability releases for them. So, first thing I would ask the City of Houston's help in is working with the Kingwood Development Company, and whatever it is, whether it's permit conditions for them to continue their building activities, or whatever means you have necessary to get them to cooperate to remove the feral hogs, of which they are certainly causing a good part of the activity and damage that we're having. So I appreciate your help, either in permit conditions on them to continue their development activities, or whatever other means you have to get them to cooperate, because they have not been cooperating. The second item that I would ask for your help in is in funding. The feral hog issue is not going to be a quick fix. It's not going to go away quickly. It's going to be a long-term battle. We've seen an article from the city of Dallas. They have a similar issue. They have employed a trapper for a 3-year period using large corral-type traps, and those types of funds are going to be necessary for us in Kingwood as well. This isn't going to go away quickly. It's going to be a long-term, ongoing battle. And we would appreciate your support in helping eliminate these menaces from all.
And as you mentioned with Ally, we have been working on this issue for quite some time. And the captain maybe help me out with this. You can't discharge a firearm within the city of Houston, so you can't kill them. So you have to hire trappers to come in and trap them, and those trappers then take them to a slaughterhouse, and they become spare ribs and things like that. But part of the issue is they populate very rapidly. So by the time you see 10 of them, a week later there are 20 of them, and they continue to populate. We are working on the issue. The city is involved. This isn't just a Houston or a Kingwood area. It's all over in certain areas of the city. We have the same problem in Clear Lake as well when they come in from wooded areas. So we're trying to put as many people on it and as many dollars behind it as we can. So patience is a virtue, but I'd ask for a little patience in making sure that we can get to it. There has also been some trappers that have been contracted by community associations, and they're not paying them anything because they're not willing to go out and trap them in exchange for bringing them to the slaughterhouses and making the money there. So we're trying to get more and more of those people. The city has put a process through that we're licensing those folks immediately, because you can't just come in and trap. You have to be licensed, you have to be permitted. So the city is doing that within just a couple of hours to make sure that we eliminate that problem as well. So more to come on that, but we do know it's a problem. I live back there as well. You know, the issue that we all have is paramount. So yes, sir.
Thank you.
just want to quickly say thank you very much for your presentation and to everyone at the table as well. I have a couple of questions that I might address to you personally in a minute. But I guess the most urgent one would be the traffic intersection at 494 and Hamlin Road, which is the entrance to Forest Cove for us. It's a very dangerous intersection, and I've witnessed several accidents there. And Diane, particularly, I was wondering if there was anything that your department was looking at in regards to that. Also, Diane, sorry I'm on your case, but in regards to water in Forest Cove, we have a problem with some of our water. It's very brown and rusty. Trent was out there this afternoon on my block. I live on Hamlin and Indian Hill, and they were draining the car cliff. So I'm not sure what's causing that. It's an ongoing issue. To the police officer, Dwayne Sherwood, we have there's poaching going on in our area down by the river, San Jacinto, and Councilman mentioned that you're not allowed to discharge firearms. Maybe you can tell me what you might be able to do on a POA level in regards to that. Sure, okay. It's hard to locate where they're coming from, but I know it's down in that area. It's hard to say exactly where they're at.
We have the control units, we have the lake there in the along the
Right.
and we have units of bicycles. We have multiple units with different equipment that we can utilize in this situation.
True. We have a lot of wildlife, rabbits, and deer down there. So
Liaison with Texas Parks and Wildlife, they get some of their game over there. They can take down stands, they can identify the location, they can put up camera traps to take photos.
Wow, fantastic.
All these techniques have been used on the other side of the lake. It's actually a lot of information there. It's going on here. Give me your information later.
I will.
Clarification on it.
I'd say along Forest Cove Drive and towards the lake. And finally, that's it. Basically, thank you very much, Councilman.
Just to let you know, our office went out on the lake patrol. We have a boat, we have 2 jet skis that patrol Lake Houston each and every day. And they've been doing a great job. And we actually went down that area in Forest Cove as well. And our office had, I'll brag a little bit, we ran our office, each council member office runs your own separate budget. We had excess of almost $50,000 surplus. And I was able to either give it to the general fund or give it to a designation. So half of it I gave to the Lake Houston Patrol for another boat that's very much needed. And the other half I gave down to HPD, Houston Police Department, on the south end of the district. So Larry, I did not give it to the general fund.
Thank you, Councilman.
Stand up. Oh, I needed to get your name. I wanted to give you my card so we can talk about that, because certainly I can't answer water questions tonight, but that way I can get your, if you want to talk to me tomorrow, I'll get all the information and then we'll find contacts, okay? It's the best I can do for you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir?
I want to give, you mentioned 311. I don't know if anybody knows